Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Reporter. Coming up here on today's show, we're going to get into some news and some rumors. We're going to talk about a very interesting Darren Waller story, and then I'm going to tell you the one free agent that I want the Silver and Black to go out and try to get. Before we get into that, today's show is sponsored by RexMD. Let's just say this. My girlfriend might not call me the Big Hurt because I'm not Frank Thomas, but if I use RexMD products, she might. So go to rexmd.com/chat. Well, that way you can save 90% off, and it's only $2 per dosage. So again, what we're talking about here on today's show, Darren Waller. Is his injury getting exposed? There's a former NFL doctor that spoke about the Waller injury. I'm going to dive into that. And then the one free agent that I believe Dave Ziegler should be like, you know what, that guy could really help us out right now. So let's talk about this Waller story, because I've seen words like exposed, I've seen words like fake, and we're going to talk about it. So here's the story. Dr. Chao, not the guy from The Hangover, actually Dr. Chao, what he had to say about the Darren Waller injury is, this one doesn't make sense to me. Waller right now is currently on the IR dealing with that hamstring injury. Hasn't really played too much this season. Actually, in fact, hasn't played since the Kansas City game. He missed 6 games last season due to an SI joint. But not only has this been a this year problem, realistically, you're looking at right now Waller dealing with some sort of hamstring injury for almost a year. Hamstring injuries don't usually last an entire year, which is really starting to raise some questions not only around the Raiders, also around people around the NFL. This is exactly what Dr. Chao, a former NFL doctor, had to say on Darren Waller's injury. This one doesn't make sense to me, but I always said when something doesn't make sense from the outside, it usually does from the inside. We just don't know what it is. Come to training camp, played some, got a contract, played some, and then was out. And then late add to the injury reserve. It doesn't all add up. I don't want to speculate. I think we all see that it doesn't add up completely, but there's usually an explanation, and I think ultimately it's going to come out. So here's my question to the nation. Do you think Darren Waller is faking his injury? If you're like, yeah, man, he absolutely is, then type MF because you think he's a mother faker. If you're like, no, man, I actually think that he's dealing with a real injury, I want you to type NF for that he's not faking it. My take on this is I don't want to believe that Waller is faking an injury. Like, to me, I can't do it. I sat there, I defended Waller. I made multiple videos out there saying that this guy deserves to be the highest paid tight end in the league. He was a face of a franchise. At one time, I've said he was my favorite player on this team. But to see these stories coming up is interesting. And then on top of that, you got to read the tea leaves. This year, the offseason, last season, I'm a big person that believes you read the tea leaves and things just start to look a little funny here around this whole Darren Waller story. So we're going to continue to talk about Darren Waller, and coming up here, is there even more proof that this whole injury is just Waller not wanting to play, Waller being unmotivated? He got his money, and now he's happy. I'll tell you about all of this stuff here in just a second, but I do got to show some love to today's sponsor, RexMD, and we're trying to hook up all the guys during the holiday season, and realistically, girls, I'm trying to hook you guys up too. So go to rexmd.com/chat. Fellas, do you sometimes lack confidence in the bedroom? We all have had those nights where we got too nervous or maybe had too much to drink. There's nothing worse than not being able to put the stick shift in drive when you need it the most. But have no fear, RexMD is here. Spread and cheer, even when you've had too many beers. RexMD is FDA approved and the most trusted leader in men's telehealth. They have sponsored the Raiders Report to help you always be prepared. RexMD has made it simple, easy, and cost-effective to help all men outlast longer and feel more confident in the bedroom. RexMD makes getting generic and branded Viagra or Cialis easy. Everything's online, even the prescription and delivery is discreetly to your door. No waiting rooms, no embarrassing trips to the doctor, no insurance, and no co-pays. Take advantage of their best deals they've got ever. They've offered up to 90% off, and you only pay $2 per dosage with our exclusive link. Go to rexmd.com/chat for this limited time deal. Starter packs of generic Viagra, Cialis, and now are available for our listeners to get started. That's rexmd.com/chat for up to 90% off. Get the gift of pleasure. So, if you could, Chugs, put the link down there in the chat. It's at the very, very top of the doc. That way it's clickable. The one at the top of the doc is clickable. So please, the 309 people out there, I'm just trying to help you guys out here a little bit. Awesome products. And it also helps you out for like me. I've been trying to get into better shape. If you can get your testosterone up, you're going to have better results in the weight room as well. All right, we're going to keep on going here with the Raiders report in this story around Darren Waller, because Waller's a big-time player for this organization, right? Anytime you sign a huge deal where you're made the highest paid tight end in the NFL, and then there's rumors out there that you might be purposely sitting out or not trying to get out there on the field, it's concerning. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to take the story that Dr. Chao said where he's like, man, something's not quite right with this Waller story. I'm not a doctor, but when a doctor's talking to me about injuries, you're stupid not to listen. You remember this? This is after the Raiders played the Colts. Derek Carr in tears, showing frustration. And what did he say? He had this to say. And there were multiple people out there like, was Derek Carr talking about Darren Waller? He said, it's hard knowing what some guys are doing just to practice, what they're putting in their bodies just to sleep at night, just so we can be there for each other. And I wish everybody in that room felt the same way about this place. And as a leader, that pisses me off, if I'm being honest. I read that Derek Carr quote right there, and I read this. I think that there are certain people in that room that aren't 100% buying in, and maybe there are other people out there that aren't trying to get their bodies into shape or not rehabbing injuries that they need to. Do you remember the report that came out about 2 weeks ago that said there's growing frustration around the team and Darren Waller? That's eye-popping to me. Do you also remember when the report that came out was the sense is that Waller is not demonstrating the necessary fight to get back on the field? Those two reports came out just 2 weeks ago after the Colts game, okay? Then also, we're going to keep on going back here because this is something that's been going on for a long time. Darren Waller was a team captain in 2021. He's not a team captain anymore. I'm not saying that, like, maybe, I don't know, it is team voted and it's head coach voted, but that doesn't usually happen. Players of Waller's status who just got a huge deal don't usually lose their captain status. I mean, they don't, y'all. And also, let's talk about this. Waller, since he's gotten paid, totally different player. Before the contract, okay? And I get it. He hired the agent that he signed his new deal with, not quite the same. But the numbers that you see on screen are essentially when he started looking for his new agent. So this is right when he hired Clutch Sports, okay? Before that, 32 games, missed 0, put up ridiculous numbers. Then he was starting to look for that new agent. He wanted to get paid. Since then, 16 games. He's missed now. It's even more than that now that I'm thinking about it. He's missed like 14 games and 71 catches, 840 yards, 3 touchdowns. If the Raiders thought that Darren Waller was faking it, I believe that they should have tried to trade him at the NFL trade deadline, right? And that's one of the reasons why I'm saying a lot of this is he faking it. There's doctors saying this, and I'm putting out a lot of rumors out there, putting out a lot of stories. But in my heart of hearts, I'm sitting there going, if the reports are true that the Green Bay Packers offered a second-round pick for Waller and the Raiders were worried about Waller, they'd be a stupid organization not to make the deal. The reason why I bring this up is because I saw on social media, Raiders Beat, they wrote an article about this whole situation, and I could not agree more with what Raider Beat had to say. The first thought that comes to mind is that if the Raiders thought Waller was intentionally sabotaging his availability, surely they would have traded him for a second-round pick at the trade deadline, even though he just signed a contract extension in September. The deal was structured in a way that it could be relatively easily traded. They also said this, the other detail to Waller's contract that he has a $75,000 bonus for every game he is on the active roster. So at the aforementioned doctor said, there's a lot of Waller situation that simply doesn't make sense without all the details. And I agree with that on top of it. Did this man get a huge deal? Yes, he did. But I still like to believe even if you're making millions of dollars, $75,000 is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And for Waller, we know he's been through a lot. He has, man. He's been through a lot of shit. So to me, I don't want to believe that he is purposely sabotaging the Raiders. The issue is this. I always say this on this show and in life. Where there is smoke, there is usually fire. And the Waller situation to me, it does just seem fishy. Coming up next here on the Raiders Report, there's a free agent that I want the silver and black to sign. And not somebody who I've mentioned recently, but he is a player that I do think could help out the team right away. Very similar to what Jerry Tillery has done for this defense. Before I tell you who that is, remember, y'all, if the Raiders sign this guy, we're going to make a video. And if you love the Raiders, free Raiders videos every single day. Shit, we might go live. We literally might go live, and I don't want you to miss our live shows because you never know when somebody crazy like Brandon Jasper or Isaac Hernandez steps in the room and then the entire show changes. So if you love the Raiders, you want to stay up to date on the latest news and rumors, hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Let's go to the player now that I would like the Raiders squad and get, Tarell Basham. Recently, the Dallas Cowboys released him on Tuesday, and the Raiders need as much pass rush help as they can get. You need to be able to get after the quarterback in the NFL. That's no secret. Last season, Basham played in all 17 games for Dallas, started in 6. To me, the only reason why the Cowboys moved on from him, one reason, they want to fill up a roster spot. I think OBJ is going to Dallas. The second reason is they have a lot of pass rush help. The Dallas Cowboys this season have 45 sacks. In comparison, the Raiders have 16. It's not great. So, yeah, you absolutely need that extra pass rush help. Basham career stats. Started off as a rookie with Indy. In 2018, he played 1 game with the Colts and then his remaining 9 with the Jets. So he basically just played on the Jets. No stats in 2022. But realistically, if you're telling me right now I can find a player who's able to give me 11 quarterback hits, and if he can get around 3 sacks, that is a valuable player on this current roster for the Las Vegas Raiders. So you tell me. I'm telling y'all, I want Tarell Basham. If there's another name out there, I made a video 2 weeks ago about players that could help this Raiders team out right now. I need more defensive help. This is a quarterback-driven league, and if you can't take that other quarterback down, you're going to struggle. In 3 out of the 4 games that the Raiders won this season, they had 3 sacks. The other one was the Houston Texans. They just stink. You want to beat Justin Herbert? You want to compete in this division? You need to get after the quarterback. And Basham is a player that can help you do that, at least on a rotational basis. When you look at his numbers from 2021 from a PFF standpoint, 610 snaps, 63.6 overall grade, a run defense grade of 66.5, a pass rush grade of 60.4. He can help out this defense, even if it's 20, 25 snaps a game. People thought I was crazy when I said that about Jerry Tillery. Basham can do it. I'm telling y'all. And then somebody needs to help out Crosby. We can all agree on that. I know Raider Nation is always split on Derek Carr. The Nation is always split on Josh McDaniels. The Nation is split on whether they like to move to Vegas or Oakland or not. But I know for a fact the Nation, all of us, all 100% of the fans believe this. Max Crosby needs help, and this defense needs to change because it hasn't been good. When you think about the fact that you got more sacks in the 4 wins compared to your losses. In the 7 Raiders losses this season, 6. Guys, that's just not cutting it. I can't handle piss-poor effort. I can't handle a bad defense any longer. I'm going to go insane. So if there's players out there that can help you do it, you got to make the adjustments. So remember, I'm also on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram, at MitchellRens365. I also make a lot of videos over on Locals as well, RaidersReport.locals.com. If you haven't entered our NFL Week 13 Pick'em Challenge yet, please make sure you do. Winner of that gets featured here on the Raiders Report. Before I leave you all today on this News and Rumor Show, some good news. If you need good news, here it is. Josh Jacobs practiced on Thursday on a limited basis, which by all accounts, it sounds like he's going to be out there on Sunday. Very, very good news. Also, Nate Hobbs practiced today. I mean, if that doesn't make you smile, then I don't know what does. I was a little bit worried that the Raiders could potentially hold out Hobbs because the Raiders' next game is Thursday Night Football against the Rams, which we're going to be live for that one as well. But here's the thing. Hobbs is out there. Jacobs is out there. I believe both those players are going to be playing this week against the Chargers. If you made it this far in the vid, we got to be doing something right around here. If you haven't, show Nate Hobbs a little bit of love because I'm excited to get 39 back out on the field. It was good to see him on practice on Thursday. Came up with a few good catches. Spam 39 down in the comments.